We have another call on the line, Lisa from Bay County. Go ahead with your question, Lisa.
So I just wanted to ask and see if I was on a motorcycle with someone and we had an accident, but it was in 2012, and I'm recently having some shoulder pain, and I actually flipped off the motorcycle and landed on my shoulder. And so I didn't know if I could still try to turn that into the insurance company that the guy had the policy with, or has it been too long?
And Lisa, I assume if this happened in Florida, our statute of limit, or it happened in Georgia, the statute of limitations there, I believe, is 2 years. So what that means is you have to have a lawsuit filed or your claim settled within that time period. And I think on their uninsured motorists, I know Florida's is 5 years. So if you're a Florida resident and the accident happened in Georgia, Florida law would be applicable, but even their uninsured motorist statute of limitations is either 4 or 5 years, I believe, but it is not going to go that far back to 2012. So I don't know if there would be much anybody would be able to do when that much time has passed.
And Lisa, thank you for the question, because Brian, it brings up a very good topic. You know, individuals try to just, you know, we try to rub some dirt on it. We try to get better. We don't really want to think that we're injured because we feel weak, or we feel compromised. But it's very important, because you could have a situation like Lisa's to where you have injuries later, but you got to report them timely.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, and I would say guys have a bigger problem doing this than the ladies do, is they want to tough it out for a week or two, and then you get busy with life and you have that nagging shoulder injury from a motorcycle accident, and then what do you know, years went by and now you go see a doctor. And you would be surprised how often we actually see that, and then people give us a call a year later and they want to know what we can do. And if the accident did hurt you and a doctor will, you know, put that, you have a potential case. But that long of a delay, there are so many issues we couldn't even cover in one show.
Yeah. Report your claim, report your claim, report your claim. Now, and let me just reiterate this once again. Our law firm works on what's called a contingency fee basis, which basically means it doesn't cost you anything for us to come talk to us, discuss your case, understand what your options are, what your rights are, more importantly, what your rights are, and then we can talk about your options. And we only get paid if we're able to recover for you on your accident. If we don't, you don't owe us a dime. So insurance companies have someone advocating for them. You might as well have someone that advocates for you, right?
And yeah, I would say a couple of times a month I meet with people who there isn't anything we can do for them just because the injury, there are no injuries, but I will spend 30 or 40 minutes with them walking them through all of the insurance, property damage, rentals, what their options are, and then if they're not injured getting medical treatment, there's nothing we can do, but we can still answer a lot of questions, and I do spend time doing that every single month.
You know, Brian, one of the other things we do also, sometimes insurance can be overwhelming to individuals, and sometimes we hear, hey, I've got full coverage, man, I'm fully covered.
I hear that every week.
And explain what full coverage is not.
Full coverage does not mean you have all the applicable coverage that we would use. So in Florida, most of the time when people have full coverage, they have $10,000 in property damage, which is only applicable if you're damaging somebody else's property, and then $10,000 in PIP. That is all you are required to have in Florida, which if you are injured, that PIP can go towards medical bills, but it only pays 80% of medical bills. And I hear full coverage all the time, and that doesn't include bodily injury, uninsured motorist, collision, comprehensive, medical payments coverage. There is a lot of additional coverage beyond the minimum that is required in Florida.
In addition to uninsured motorists, there's this fancy word called stack or unstack.
Always get stacking.
You always
it is
get
cheap,
stacked.
cheap.
Just remember that. Always get stacked, because it allows you to gain additional benefits under your policy. Brian, one of the other things we do also, because insurance can be overwhelming, we'll review your policy for you for free. Just call us up if you have a question. One of the attorneys in our office will get to you, whether you want to email, text, call, whatever, and we will review your policy for you to help you understand, do you have the coverages that you need to have?
We can go over the coverage and the policy. I had a client that we signed up about 2 months ago, a pretty bad boating accident, but they had boating insurance that was actually applicable, and they were not on their boat. So it is always good if you have questions about coverage, give us a call, or if you just don't understand it, we can explain most things pretty simply.
Right.